Good evening and welcome to the darkness. My name is Stephanos and today I am here with my friend Carrie Lynch. Carrie, say hi.
Hi. Wow, this is awesome. Hi, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us again this week on the Strange and the Weird, where we're going to bring you some childhood destroying news, obviously. Give me one moment. I'm just making sure we're archiving. And yes, we are archiving, so this will be on the YouTube. If you guys didn't know, I do have a YouTube channel now for this. I apologize for this show. Just search up Stefanos Saganakis, and it'll come up as the Strange and the Weird. The first one, you'll see one with my picture on it. You'll see one with the Strange and the Weird's picture on it. Go with the one with the Strange and Weird's picture on it. That one's the actual show. The other one's mine, which has nothing of interest on it, anyways. All right. So to start off the show today. I'm gonna do what I always do. Hold on, where's this whole thing? Neither I or Carrie represent the views of Stetson, etc., etc. None of this is meant to be changing your religion or thought patterns, etc., etc. You know, all that boring stuff. I really do not want to say that over and over. All right, and I'm going to tell you, we still do not have a live call-in feature. You can call in, but you will not be on the radio unless the microphone picks you up from all the way from the telephone, which I'll make it as loud as possible. And you could call in at any time with this number, 386-822-8770. So I really wanted to do a few segments where we destroy our childhoods in the show. In one show in the future, I'll be destroying your childhood with the Pokemon games. I've already planned that one out. That one's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, boy.
And this one, I'm going to be destroying your childhood with Disney.
Fairy tales.
Fairy
Fairy
tales.
tales.
Basically, yeah.
Princesses.
Yeah, sort of. Depends on your view, your deadly view of princesses. But that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be talking about the Disney tales and their origins, which I believe 3 of them are Grimm's fairy tales.
Yeah. 3 of them were written by the brothers Grimm. The other one was Hans Christian Andersen, I believe.
Yeah, and as you guys know, a lot, like we were talking about last week with the German tales of Slender-Man, the Germans are horrible, horrible pessimistic people. They seriously cannot find a way to be happy. They're great people, don't get me wrong, but their stories are so miserable sometimes. As you'll see when we're talking later, I just got a comment in actually on the Facebook.
Nice.
Yes, my friend Paul. Thank you, Paul, for serving in the military, by the way. He says, "My childhood is very precious. If you destroy it, I will destroy you." And that's one threat I'm not going to listen to. But thank you very much, Paul, for your childhood input. All right, but...
Sorry, Paul.
Yeah, sorry, Paul. But before we go in to that, I just want to get a little bit of a basis on Disney. I mean, who doesn't know Disney, right?
Yeah, I mean, what? You've been living under a rock?
Exactly.
Are you Patrick Star?
Yes, I'm Patrick Star. No, this is Patrick. So I want to know.
Is this the Krusty Krab? This is Patrick.
Tell me, who is your favorite? What is your favorite Disney tale?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I'm gonna have to go with either The Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast. Those were my 2 favorite princesses when I was little.
Both which have really bad real life endings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Little Mermaid has a sort of a open ending, depending on how you want to depict it yourself.
It's bad.
Yeah, it is. There are different versions, and I have one version which I found very interesting. But well, the Beauty and the Beast, I believe, also had a really bad ending. We're not going to talk about the Beauty and the Beast today, unfortunately, which is a very good movie, and has a pretty good backstory. I believe in the original, the Beast gets killed.
Yeah, I didn't look that one up. I should have, though.
Yeah, we'll do that on another segment.
Yeah.
But I believe in the original, the Beast gets killed. Spoilers. Dumbledore dies.
Oh, my God.
But to be all realistic, a lot of the Disney movies they made, like Hercules, are highly inaccurate.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's embarrassingly inaccurate sometimes. There are some similarities that go right into the mist, but some of it just doesn't add up, you know?
Yeah.
At least to the original mythos of the thing, including we're gonna talk about the Little Mermaid and stuff. I guess we should just jump right in. Which one do you want to start with, Carrie?
How about, I don't know, Rapunzel? Rapunzel, good one?
All right, Rapunzel. There you go.
So I'm sure everyone knows the story of Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Should we give it?
Paul, I'm pretty sure Paul really wants to hear this because he's being a really big smartass right now. He is saying, "What? No, Hercules is the story of my life, but I said they couldn't use my name, so they used the name Hercules instead. That's why. You're welcome for a badass movie, though." You wish. You wish, Paul. All right.
Well, I mean, everyone knows the story of Rapunzel, right?
Yeah.
And the Disney movie is pretty recent.
Mm-hmm. Which I love the movie. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deny it was a really awesome movie.
I did too. Yeah, it was good. It was cute.
What I liked about it was 'cause I never really knew the original Rapunzel myth. I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'm getting other words. Apparently, Beauty and Beast is still the same. Another friend looked it up for me. My friend Tori, she looked it up, and she says Beauty and the Beast is the same. We'll be going about that in another time, though. And apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
So Rapunzel, I never knew the real story of it.
Yeah.
I never knew her hair had healing powers. Apparently, her it's very same in the Grimm's tale. Is it? Because when I was reading it, her tears healed the prince at the end, which we'll get into why.
Yep.
He had
Yep.
healed. So I really found that fascinating that a lot of these stories have a lot of not sort of good versus evil, but sort of like a manipulative motive to keep this thing contained. Like, who wouldn't want that power, and who wouldn't want it to sort of be in their possession?
Yeah.
It's like the fountain of youth at that moment, and you have complete control over it, apparently.
I just broke my heel. Don't worry about me.
Hold on. There you go.
Perfect.
Good job. You're here for 5 minutes and you break your heel.
I'm not awkward enough.
So what's happening now? I want you to tell the story of Rapunzel from what you know it in the Disney form.
The original, the happy version.
Yeah, the happy version. The happy, non-realistic version.
All right. Well, okay. The happy version of Rapunzel. A king and a queen. They want to have a child, and they get a daughter. They get a little baby. I don't know all the specific details. And a witch steals the baby, and puts the baby in the tower. And she grows up to be Rapunzel. And she doesn't know any different. She's lived in a tower her whole life. She's never cut her hair. That's why it's so long. And every day the witch is like, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me. And Rapunzel lets her hair down, and the witch comes up to see her. And then one day a prince comes. What is it? Isn't the prince just...
The prince just sort of comes and just sort of hears it.
Yeah, and he hears it, and he's like, what?
Look at all that golden hair. Must lead somewhere.
Exactly. He's like, look at that hair. I like that.
I like that hair.
I like that hair. So then he goes up the tower, and the Rapunzel finds out there's other people, and I don't have to live in this tower my whole entire life. And so she leaves the tower.
And goes off with the prince.
And goes off with the prince and lives happily ever after. Like many a Disney story.
Of course, many a Disney story. I have the Wikipedia version because you gave this to me last night at 2 a.m.
I know, I'm sorry.
So I didn't really have much time to do proper research, and I wasn't going to base it off of Tangled.
Yeah, my bad.
But what I like about reading this is we have the whole same thing. The enchantress comes, steals the kids, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this story extremely hilarious, personally.
The original?
We're talking about the original now.
Oh, yeah.
This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Some people are so forgetful. So she goes, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your long hair so I may climb that golden stair. And then she climbs. And obviously the prince comes one day.
Mm-hmm.
And he hears her singing. He's like, oh, I want to hear the singing and feel the hair. And he goes up to the story. He goes up to the tower. And eventually he goes and starts talking with Rapunzel. And after a little while, they get to know each other, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? Let's get married." And she's like, "Yeah, let's get married." Um, and when they plan to escape,
Because that's how relationships work.
Yeah.
Oh my
Relationships.
gosh, I cannot even speak English. Relationships work.
Yep.
Wow.
You know, they meet.
I'm the worst possible person to put on a radio show.
Oh, you're doing just fine.
I don't understand words.
For a second, I was lost there. I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah. So, I guess after a few meetings, they decide, hey, you know, we're gonna get married. Why not? And when they're planning to make their escape, the prince comes at night while the enchantress comes in the day, and the prince brings silk so that she can make a ladder. And this seems pretty foolproof. I mean, hide the silk under the bed. The enchantress wouldn't know a thing, you know? But my favorite thing, Rapunzel innocently says to the enchantress, "Mother, why does my bosom feel so tight after the prince coming up?"
Oh,
Basically, she's asking.
lovely.
I know, right? Isn't that just brilliant? She gives away her true love. She's basically asking, "Mom," or yeah, mother, why is it that that my dress is so tight on my stomach ever since the prince started showing up?
Yeah, yeah.
For those of you 18 or over, you probably know what I'm saying. Even younger. So obviously the princess, Rapunzel was at that point pregnant, and she's like, "Oh, oopsies,"
Yeah, yeah.
and accidentally told the enchantress, "Hey, I got a boyfriend."
The witch is not like that.
Oh no, she doesn't like that. So apparently, in the story, she cuts Rapunzel's hair short and banishes her into the wilderness to die.
In the desert, I believe. The forest or something like that.
Wilderness. That's what it says here. I mean, wilderness, forest, same thing.
Yep, yep.
And then the prince comes later on that night.
Yeah, the prince, they've been lost from each other for years or something. And
Well, we're not that part just quite
Oh,
yet.
they are?
No,
Oh, my
no,
God,
no.
Whoops, my bad.
Yeah, no, we are
Okay.
we're at the part where he's actually going to the tower.
Oh, when he goes to the tower.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And at that point, the enchantress still has all of Rapunzel's hair. A little creepy. And uses the hair to bring up the prince as they normally would. And he's frightened because, oh no, now it's the enchantress. I'm going to die. The fairy tale has different endings where he either falls down or he is pushed down from the stair. But something happens to him and he falls out of the tower, falls into the thorns, and becomes blind.
The thorns poke his eyes out.
Which is why you should wear glasses and not
Ouch.
contacts.
Ouch. Hey, I've got my glasses on right now.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Nice.
The glasses
Look at-
buddies.
We rock.
So that's why you wear glasses, kids. But not just for your eyesight. But yeah, so he becomes blind, and at this point, he's wandering around, depending on the fairy tale, from a few months to a few years, depending on the version you're reading. And one day,
He hears a singing or voice.
yeah, and
Sounds familiar.
he starts going to her as fast as he possibly can, and the prince and Rapunzel finally meet up again. So this is actually a tale of a happy ending, which I'm very surprised that this has such a happy ending.
It's so
I was expecting
vulgar,
death.
though.
I was expecting death.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So this one's not actually ruining childhood because he finds Rapunzel and his twin children.
Surprise.
And Rapunzel heals him with her tears, and he gets his eyesight back, and they go back to the castle and live happily ever after.
Pretty rough life, though, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the real travesty comes in it when Rapunzel, this is what everyone thinks, but this is, I can see why they think that, is that Rapunzel is trapped and lied to for so many years.
Yeah.
And I don't see I've never met a human being. I mean, obviously the movies and stuff, but I've never met a human being that I think could be so despicable as to hold someone completely, keep them naive for their entire life, and make sure that they can't see anything, you know? Like, they can't see the world outside. They don't know.
Yeah.
What happened?
Funny story to go along with the Rapunzel discussion. I don't know if you've heard of it, Steph, but I'm sure there's some people who've heard of the musical Into the Woods.
I have never heard of it.
You've never heard of it? Okay. Well, it's kind of like all the fairy tales put together, if they were all in one big story. And I was in that show my junior year of high school.
Oh, nice.
And I played Rapunzel, and I had to wear this awful, really long blonde wig, and it totally looked like ramen noodles. And I played
That's a way to
Rapunzel,
kill a fairy tale.
and it used the original story. And I was in the tower, and then I met the prince, and then he went blind, and then I had two twins, and then I found the prince and cried, and I saved his eyes. So I'm just your average everyday hero, you know.
Well, you heard it from here. Carrie is officially the Rapunzel.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I think that was a really happy ending, and
It was happier than others.
yeah, but it was a
Not-
lot of trial to get there.
Not Disney quality happy, but you
No,
know.
Disney quality happy. It was like the witch would have been like, "Oh no, I'm melting," and then they're like, "Yay, go skip off happily ever after and have like
Yeah.
1,000 babies."
And then I know we're not there yet, but also when we talk about Cinderella, I'll tell you about that in the
Were you in
the musical.
another?
No, it just had the same. It had included Cinderella and Into the Woods too.
Okay.
So
Yeah, the Wikipedia for Cinderella doesn't have the full story, so I won't be able to do
oh,
much.
okay, yeah, I know that one.
I got a message from my god sister Alexandra, and she's
Hello.
and she's saying that she believes that the story is really messed up. Even though it does have a happy ending, it is messed up because there's so much trial in it. I mean, the man's blinded for months away from his own kingdom, and he doesn't even know if his love is alive or if his children. He might not even know she was pregnant. So I guess if you think about it, it's actually a really happy ending because now he knows he has kids with a woman he loves, or seen 3 times, just thought was really beautiful, and then said, "Hey, let's get married," Romeo and Juliet styled.
Oh boy.
And I think that's probably gonna be the happier of the stories we're gonna be talking about today.
For sure. For sure. Well, I mean, Cinderella's not sad. It's just very unusual.
All right, and then Snow White and
Just not Disney happy.
and then Snow White and the Little Mermaid is.
Little Mermaid's definitely the worst.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we'll save that one for last. Save the best for
Oh
last.
boy.
We'll go down the horrible scale for you guys.
So
So I just want to say that's basically Rapunzel. If you guys want to talk about Rapunzel or the show Tangled, and if you secretly like it in some recess of your heart and you don't want to admit it, but you want to admit it over phone where no one will know you, feel free to call in. I will answer the phone and put you on speaker. Once again, the number is 386-822-8770. And no, you don't need to secretly like Rapunzel just to call in. You could like Rapunzel normally. And you can just tell us your thoughts on the story and the original and the Disney.
yeah, for sure.
That'd
And
be
if
cool.
you're lucky enough to have my number, I have my phone with me too.
Because no one on Stetson campus has your number, Carrie.
if you're my friend. If you're worried.
Wait, I don't have your number.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I know.
You texted me to get here.
I know. Because you were like five minutes late.
I know. I
All right.
had to take a shower. Gotta keep up that personal hygiene.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that at least. My phone is really weird because it's saying I have messages when I don't have messages. All right. So I think we can move on now to Cinderella.
Cinderella or Snow White, either one.
Which one's sadder?
Snow White is just, it's not very different. It's just, I mean, it's not very sad. It's just different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
All right. I actually got a really funny message.
Ooh, let's hear it.
This is from.
I like this.
This is from my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hey, my mom should be listening too. Let's see. Hey, yeah, she just texted me. Sure, you can call Mom.
All right, so my
For
mom
sure.
sent me a text message, and she said, if these fairy tales were modern, they could be put on Jerry Springer.
That's actually
Brilliant.
totally true and hilarious.
That is probably my favorite comment of the night so far.
Props to Steph's mom.
All right. So I think we'll move on to Cinderella now, and then we're gonna take a small music break. And I'll be featuring a local band from South Florida, Funkman's Inferno. And this time you can say, "Hey, I know a guy who knows you," because they know me. Unlike Frank Sinatra last week, or 2 weeks ago actually. All right. So we're gonna talk about Cinderella. And
Cinderella.
I think I'll go with the Disney part. You go with the original because I don't have the original.
Okay. Deal.
From what I know about Cinderella, she was horribly abused by her stepmom and her stepsisters, and they were obviously not the best of people. And while they were like, "Hey, we're gonna treat you like complete butt, and it's gonna be horrible for you,"
You're gonna do all our chores.
yeah, and you're gonna do.
You're gonna wait on us hand and foot.
And I mean, that's not good, obviously. And eventually she sneaks out to the ball with the help of her fairy godmother. And she had like 3 fairy godmothers, right?
No, that's Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping
Do you want me to tell it?
Yeah,
us
you do
Okay.
that. I'm gonna
All right,
get them
Cinderella.
so confused.
Cinderella, this poor little girl. Her mom dies. Pretty sure her mom dies. Her dad marries her evil stepmother because he needs someone to take care of his daughter.
Yeah.
I think he's either away, like, selling stuff to
He's
make
on
money,
business.
supporting the family, or he's sick and dying or something like that. It's different. It's, I keep thinking of the Cinderella with Brandy. The one Cinderella, it's like...
Oh, is that like the new movie on AMC or something like that? That was out in like 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never watched it.
With Brandy. In my own little corner on my own little chair. That one?
No.
Okay. Anyways, that's what I think. That's what I'm thinking of right now. Anyways, okay. So
yeah, she got her fairy godmother.
all right. So she's like really sad and like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. All I want to do is go to the ball, and her stepmother and her stepsister's like, well, when you clean all this stuff up, you can go to the ball, and they give her a ton of work to do. Like, assuming she won't get it done because it's impossible. And so she's like, oh, boo, I'm so sad.
Then all the woodland creatures come to help her out.
Yeah. Gus, the little mouse, he's so
God.
cute. Anyway, so she's like really sad about it, and then like her fairy godmother comes and is like, you're gonna go to the ball, let me give you a really pretty dress. And she goes to she like magically transforms and she goes to the ball, and the prince is like, I don't know, they're trying to find like a princess for this prince, and he's like meeting all the ladies and dancing with all the ladies, and she
having a
dances
good
with
old
him.
time.
Yeah, another good example of how relationships work.
5 nights of a dance, fall in love.
So she goes and she dances with the prince, and the prince falls in love with her because obviously that just happens.
Just randomly happens.
But the fairy godmother was like, oh, Cinderella, be careful, you have to be back by midnight or this is all gonna go away. Oh yeah, also her pumpkin turned into a carriage.
And the mice into a horse.
That too. And so she's like, you have to be back by midnight or this is all going to go away. And Cinderella's like, okay, whatever, YOLO. And she goes to the ball and she's dancing with the prince, and she's like completely not keeping track of time because who's going to keep track of time if you're like dancing with a prince all night, you know? So the clock is about to strike midnight and she goes, oh no, and freaks out. Like every day when I wake up 10 minutes before my theory class.
Same thing with my chemistry class. Oh crap, our parents are listening.
Oh no, sorry Mama.
You didn't hear that.
So she's like, oh no, so she starts running away, obviously, because she doesn't want him to see her like in her rags, and she loses her shoe on the steps, and she runs away and she goes home, and that's that.
My question is, why didn't the shoe disappear as well? I mean, does it have to be on her body to disappear?
It didn't. Oh, why didn't it disappear?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, everything else, even the other shoe disappears. That one shoe.
That is a super good point.
Like, I mean,
I have no idea.
We could have made it a tragedy right there.
Maybe it's because he found the shoe and he like picked up the shoe before it turned to midnight.
So the magical properties disappeared.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's got to be it. That's the only way.
I couldn't think of anything else either.
So she goes home and life goes on like normal. And the stepsisters are like, oh my gosh, I love the prince. He's going to pick one of us because we're awesome and we love him. And so the prince is like all upset, like, where's my dream girl, yo? She left. She ran away. Didn't get her name. This is really...
Where's my dream girl, yo?
This is really hard. And so he's going around to every maiden in the land. Oh my gosh, Mom. My mom keeps texting me. Mom's like, she had both of her shoes in Disney World. Well, Mom, they got her a new pair.
All right.
Oh, hold on.
So
the prince goes around and is trying the shoe on to every maiden in the land to find his princess, and he tries it on the stepsisters, and they like try to fit their foot into it, but it doesn't fit. And he was like, "Are these all the maidens? Maidens? Is that proper? I don't know.
That would be.
Are these all the women that live in your house?" And the stepmom's like, "Yes." And he's like, "You're lying to me, I know," but he doesn't say that. He's just like, "Are you sure?" or something like that. And she's like, "Oh, well, we just have our little slave girl," or something like that. And then he's like, "Bring her to me immediately, at once." And then she tries on the shoe, and he's like, "It's you." And she's like, "Ah." And then they get married and live happily ever after. The end.
And now for the real version, which I hear is a little gruesome.
The real version's so cool. I love it.
If I heard the real version correctly, I don't think cool is the way to describe a Resident Evil-esque type thing at that point. With the gore, not zombies.
The only like real difference is some gory details.
Yeah. I mean, who would go that far? I think we'll talk about that right after we talk about why this happens.
It's so funny.
Obviously, they want a lot of money, but... All right, go on, Carrie, tell us.
Okay. So, I remember specifically, it's not like a million chores. It's like, It
was like impossible chores.
It was like, I dropped a pile of lentils into the ashes if you can pick them all out, or something like that.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then, Cinderella goes to the ball, whatever. That's all the same. And then, when the prince is coming around looking for... the princess, the first stepsister. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Again, also, the Cinderella goes to her mother's grave and, like, at a tree and, like, talks to her mom a lot in it.
Okay. So they took out that part in Disney, obviously.
Yeah. So, the prince comes around, and the stepsister's like, oh, my gosh, this shoe has to fit on my foot, because otherwise how am I going to get the prince to love me? So the first stepsister... to get the shoe to fit on her foot, cuts off her heel. And then that doesn't work. He sees the blood or something gross like that.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't? You cut off your entire heel.
And then the second stepsister cuts off her big toe or something like that.
Oh, God.
I think that's hilarious. That doesn't gross me out at all. I'm just like, ew.
Well, I mean...
blood.
I mean, coming from a viewpoint of modern day horror movies where blood is in every scene possible, even scenes that don't make sense have blood.
Truth. Have you seen Saw?
I hate the Saw franchise.
I'm obsessed with Saw. I've only seen the first one. It was like 2 years ago.
Never see the rest. The rest are horrible.
Bummer.
But think about it like this: who, in their right mind, would? First off, your heel's not gonna heal in 5 minutes, and it's not gonna be like, oh, hey, I'm not seeing the blood right there coming out of the freaking shoe.
I can trick my husband until this flesh wound heals. Whatevs. He won't notice if I'm missing my big toe.
Yeah, no big deal. Especially since your big toe provides stability. Trip like 1,000 times. But you cut off your big toe. I mean, like,
dude,
your big toe's not even the longest toe. Is it? No.
Yeah, it is. It's my longest toe.
Oh, well.
It depends.
Well, my foot's a little weird then.
Is it your, like, pointer toe? What's your longer toe?
Yeah, not even by much. It's like...
That's a recessive gene.
Oh, it's not even by much. It's like really, really, really small.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough about my feet. I'm not cutting off anything from those. What I like about this myth is that apparently it has relevance all the way from. It's been played in many places like China, Indonesia, the Philippines, Vietnam, and Korea. And what I like about this is actually in China they did foot binding.
Oh yeah, that
So
makes so much sense.
so I love it. I've never seen the Chinese performance or anything, but I love just how the Chinese sort of bring that in.
They made it part of their they use
A
their
very
own
similar
culture.
culture, yeah.
Yeah.
A very similar culture and a very similar story, but a different culture. My bad. And apparently, it's a king that finds it's a king that finds the woman, not actually a prince, in the Chinese culture. But I love how everything has sort of relevance to every other culture because they're cutting off part of their own foot. I mean, the Chinese did that with foot binding, and I think another few Asian cultures did that as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that, but I find that I find these great lengths just to get a prince, get rich, and probably have a miserable life afterwards. Because
Yeah.
if he doesn't love you, it's gonna be miserable. Um,
Like, why do you want to be a princess so bad? Mia Thermopolis had an internal debate about that. It's a hard choice.
it is, but
Not that I would say no to being a princess, but whatever.
that's true. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of stories right now. Trying to relate this. Apparently, trying to relate this in some way to them, and my friend from the army again, Paul, was just telling me a story about how people actually in the army injure themselves to get out of service. Apparently,
Ooh.
which I mean, you see that in Family Guy too. Stewie and Brian shoot their foot.
Oh, sorry, I'm not a Family Guy watcher.
Yeah. No, that's not a big deal. And they can't leave because there are two dead guys guarding the ammunition system because budget cuts or something. But that's interesting that it's even now relevant to today. And I've read something long ago, not long ago, like a few hours ago, that before the Civil War.
Long ago. I mean,
Well,
by that I mean
I read it a few hours
ago.
ago, but this was long ago. Oh, and there are people agreeing with me. That is their longest toe too. So I'm not really that weird. Thank you.
Okay.
But
Also,
they would take out their teeth because
Ew.
for the Civil War, if you had 4 teeth, you could fight because the gun cartridge powders needed you to open them with your teeth.
Oh,
So they just take out the teeth and they couldn't serve. They couldn't be
Tricky.
drafted.
tricky.
And apparently people mutilate themselves. From what my army friend says, thank you very much, Paul, for sending this in. For all sorts of reasons, like getting out of the service or, I don't know, sympathy or whatever. And I find that very interesting that people would still do that, even though it is like mutilate. Not mutilating is the word we've been using all the time, but it's permanent. You're not going to regrow a hand or a foot.
Yeah. Shout out to Annabelle Welsh, who calls big toes thumb toes. Madeline just texted me.
Okay.
Madeline, who was on last week.
She was talking with me about the Slender Man.
Yeah. Her sister calls big toes thumb toes.
Oh, shout out to that. We're getting a lot of shout outs today.
That's funny, and I like that. So props to that.
All right. All right.
Also, the end of Cinderella. I never told you about the end.
Yeah, tell us the end.
Okay. So the stepsisters have
All bloody.
they have parts of their feet missing and now whatever. But happily ever after, the Cinderella and the prince get married, and the stepsisters go to the wedding, with canes because they are missing part of their feet, and then their eyes get pecked out by birds and they go blind. Which is funny because that's what happened to Rapunzel. Rapunzel's prince went blind. So
this is why I have a fear of anything going near my eyes.
yeah. So that's the ending. They lived happily ever after, but the stepsisters went blind. Sorry.
I guess it's a bit of karma there.
Yeah.
What I like about this, the stories you often hear when you're talking about originals is people die, and I think that is very major. That your happy story of, what's the story that we don't need to spoil today? That was on Disney.
What's a good one? Oh,
What's a good Disney story? That's a trick question. Well, it's like saying Buzz Lightyear in the original myth died.
Let's talk about.
Um,
That's a good one. Toy Story.
that's for a future time, but that's not really strange or weird because there's no.
Strange or weird. Well, we're not talking about Rapunzel,
Well,
even though it is kind of. Sorry, Sleeping Beauty.
we're talking about snow. Yeah, but
Mulan.
Mulan. Yeah, but we haven't. Well, actually, we have as long as we want to tell you the truth. No one's behind us. But yeah, this is a very. My friend's saying that she wants to talk about Finding Nemo. There's a lot of theories actually behind that will really darken up the story for you.
Finding Nemo?
Yeah. There are a few theories behind that will actually darken up the story.
I don't know if I want to know those.
You probably don't.
Was that you?
That was me. I really should turn this off right now.
Your phone?
Yeah. And there's a lot of dark things and a lot of kids' stories that a lot of people don't know about, and even I don't know about, and Carrie doesn't know about.
I don't know if I want to know about them.
Not all of them, no.
No.
And Cinderella and Rapunzel seem to be pretty easy so far on us.
The other ones, well, The Little Mermaid's really bad.
Oh yeah, no, Little Mermaid's tear-jerking.
Snow White is just, it just has like weird, like funny like differences.
All right. Well, we'll make sure to talk about that when we get back from the music break. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you one more time. And once again, for my god sister, she is saying these stories are kind of scarring.
Sorry.
I'm not. All right, once again, guys, if you want to call in, leave a comment, suggestion, ask a question, etc., etc., etc. Anything strange and weird to either I or Carrie, this could go from UFOs all the way to Rapunzel. Call us one more time at 386-822-8770. We'll be on the music break starting in a few.
As the protector of this fair city, no evil deed shall go unpunished. For if little Jimmy is stuck in a well, I'll be there. For if the bank is being robbed, I'll be there. And if their cable guy is late, I'll be there. Let it be known that as the fair protector of this city, I am electric sweatpants. I am electric sweatpants. I am electric sweatpants. I am electric sweatpants. Meanwhile, in the Elasta layer,
I am known as Dr. Elastic. None of you have heard of me, but that's okay, because I shall rule this whole tri-state area. None of you shall be able to stop me, especially not that electric sweatpants fellow. Lord knows he can't get in my way. Not at all. I, of all people, am totally fit to rule this place. You've got your government, you've got your politics, it's all corrupt. I alone shall be the one to rule this. I shall be the one destined to conquer everything. I shall rule.
Will Electric Sweatpants save the day? Or will Dr. Elastic take over the city? Tune in next week on Electric Sweatpants.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, you will not hear what happens next week with Electric Sweatpants. The second song was not played, from what I heard. But if you want to hear more of these guys' music, you can look them up on Bandcamp. Funkman's Inferno. Funkman's is one word, and Inferno is another word. They're really good, and you can also search them up on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Funkman's Inferno. Just tell them Steph sent you, and they'll be like, hey, cool, we know that guy. Nothing special. Seriously, nothing special. I'm sorry. All right. So now we're going to go on to Snow White, was it?
Yeah.
All right, so you just told me some of the fun... Actually, I think this is sort of a comedy at this point right now.
Definitely. For sure.
So tell me what you think about... all right, let's go over the Snow White thing, because all I know is that there's the apple, and that's all I really paid attention to in Snow White. I haven't seen it in years.
Okay. Snow White. She's, this girl. And there's the queen of the land, and she has her mirror that talks to her, and she's like, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And the mirror's like, sorry, not you, it's this girl, Snow White. And she's like, what? No, like, that's not okay. Like, we need to get rid of this girl. Like, and she sends her huntsman. She's like, go kill this girl. Like, she's obviously got some issues she needs to work out.
She's a little mad.
So she tells the huntsman, hey, dude, go kill this girl because I'm telling you what to do. And so he's like, okay. So he goes, and he's like, wow, you're so beautiful. And he's like, I can't just kill this girl. Like, she didn't do anything, So he's like, just run away.
Well, I mean, if it was, what's her name, who did the newest enactment of Snow White, then you could kill her. She doesn't act much anyways.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember.
The girl who plays Bella on Twilight.
Oh, I didn't.
She plays.
Kristen Stewart. I didn't see the.
She has no
the
emotion.
Huntsman. I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, she has no emotion, so the huntsman could have finished it off easily, I think, in that one. I'm sorry, Kristen Stewart, but I'm really not. All right, go back on.
Okay. So, he's like, just run away, and so she runs away, and she comes across these 7 little dwarves, and ooh, that's a good thing. Can we name all the dwarves?
Yeah, name all the dwarves.
Okay. Sleepy, Dopey,
Happy,
Sneezy, Happy, Doc,
Grumpy. Oh, come on.
Oh my gosh.
Sneezy, Happy, Dopey, Grumpy. I forgot the rest of it.
Well, Grumpy, Dopey, Sneezy, Sleepy, Doc. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
This is really, really bad.
I guess the next person gets someone that we did not say yet.
Yeah. Who did we miss? Let us know.
Yeah, who did we miss? Let us know. 386-822-8770. And no, it's not Poopy, Paul. Nice try. But we did miss someone, and we have no idea who it is.
No, Mom, we said Dopey.
Oh, we missed Doc.
I said Doc.
You said Doc?
Yeah, I said Doc.
Oh, I didn't hear you say Doc. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Tori, for telling us Doc. Maybe.
Oh wait, no, that was Madeline. No, Madeline. We said Madeline. We did say Dopey, but my mom got it. My mom wins.
What'd she say?
Bashful.
Bashful.
Mom, you win the prize of having me as your daughter.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miss Lynch. You are now officially the first prize winner of Carrie as your daughter.
And you win the glorious motherhood of me. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm your child. Okay, so anyways, back to Snow White. So she goes, lives with the 7 dwarves, and like they're all happy, yay, happy, whatever. And so the witch is like, cool, like I'm obviously the fairest one of them all now.
Second place is Tori. There you go.
Okay, props. She's like, okay, so who's the mom? I'm proud of you.
We're getting a lot of messages in, but no call-ins. Guys, call in
Yeah.
too. Don't you want to be on the radio?
Come on, Mom.
Or not Miss Lynch, or like anyone. Miss Lynch,
Or
feel free to call
Madeline.
in. Yeah.
Who else is listening?
Probably Ben.
I told Ben to. He didn't answer me though.
But thank you for all your messages coming in. Let's get back on track though.
Okay, so the witch is like, so who? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? And they're like, sorry, still not you. She's like, what? I hired a hitman. Like, this is not going my way.
Not the right hitman.
So she's like, well, I gotta take care of this myself. So she makes a poison apple. She gives it to Snow White. Snow White bites the apple. I mean, for lack of a better word, she dies. It's a Disney movie. She doesn't really die, but she dies.
She's knocked out, like in Pokemon.
Oh, Ben, hey, you are listening. Super.
So she sort of, quote unquote, dies.
Yeah, so all the dwarves are really depressed and sad, and they're like, well, Snow White's too beautiful to be buried in the ground. So they put her in a casket that's like glass so they can see her, and they just sit there and cry for a while. And the prince comes along, and he's like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful.
Did they meet, the prince and the Snow White meet at like a well before?
Maybe, yeah. That would be make a lot more sense and be a lot less creepy.
Yeah.
And
So they met at a well. Let's make that canon.
So then he kisses her and she comes back to life, and they live happily ever after.
That's nice. Tell us the comedy now.
Okay,
And
all right.
Guys, she told me this is really comedy. It'll get you ready for the depressing one in a little while.
I said we should save this one for last.
Oh,
but,
God, no, this whole
Steph just
show is
wants
about
you
ruining your
to leave
childhood.
crying.
Yeah, I want you to leave crying. Of course I do.
Okay, so the differences of the original tale. There are 2 failed attempts at killing Snow White before the apple. The witch, I think, makes a poison like a bodice or like a dress or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, she's like, hey, I'm selling my wares. Like, buy this dress for me. It'll look so good on you. And Snow White's like, okay. And then she ties the dress on her, and I guess she ties it really tight. And Snow White almost dies, but then the dwarves come home, and they're like, oh my gosh, and they save her. And they're like, don't let anyone in the house. Do not let anybody into this house. And Snow White's like, yeah, okay. Snow White's pretty stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
Because the witch comes by, again, with a hair comb. And she's like, hey, comb your hair with this hair comb. It's a really nice hair comb, and it'll make your hair really soft. And Snow White's like, oh, I don't know. And the witch is like, it's just a hair comb. And so she does it, and then she, falls on the ground. And then the dwarves come home, and they take the comb out of her hair. Which you think something as simple as that, like it wouldn't have stuck in her hair if she collapsed on the ground, whatever. So they take the comb out of her hair, she comes back to life, and they're like, do not, under any circumstances, let anybody into this house. You're being stupid. And she's like, yeah, of course I won't. Blah, blah, blah. So then the witch comes by with the apple, and Snow White has like the window open or something, which is like, have an apple. And Snow White's like, no, I'm not let anybody in the house or take anything from anybody. And the witch is like, it's just an apple. And she's like, no. And the witch is like, I'll cut it in half, and I'll eat one half. I'll eat the green half while you eat the red half, or something, or the white half or something.
Because apples are conveniently perfect in half.
Right. So Snow White's like, okay. And so she takes a bite of the apple. She dies. This time the dwarves come home. They're really sad, whatever. They put her in the casket. The prince comes by, and he's like, she's so beautiful. Like, let me take her with me back to the castle. And they're like, first of all, that's like super creepy. Like, why do you want a dead body? He's like, let me take her back to the castle. And the dwarves are like, no, like, we love her. And he's like, please, like, I won't be able to live without her, or something like that.
Maybe
and
he's like
okay, fine.
The guy from The Raven.
So they're like, okay, fine. So I guess the prince and his people start carrying Snow White. They pick up the casket, and it tips. The apple dislodges from her throat, and she miraculously comes back to life. No kiss.
The Heimlich remover.
No kiss. No Heimlich.
A makeshift Heimlich remover.
Just a little jostle. How does that even... No. Whatever.
I really don't know where to start with she should be dead.
Whatever.
For all sakes and
Oh.
purposes, she should be dead.
Madeline, aren't you hilarious? Madeline just sent me like she did send me 20
text
20
messages.
text messages. She thinks one of the dwarves is called asshole. Sorry, Mom. I'm sorry.
I'm told.
Just reading my texts.
Oh God.
Good one, Madeline.
Take a look at this.
You're punny. I can't read that.
I just found a picture from a friend of mine. She sent it, and this was actually a
Yep,
picture
that's creepy.
of the prince and Snow White. And you see the prince.
It's like a meme type.
Yeah, I'll post it on
pic.
the official page, facebook.com/The Strange and Weird. I also posted a picture of the Grimm's brothers. Enjoy that.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, no, I just posted it just now. I forgot to before. I'm not gonna lie. But it says, finds a random corpse in the wood, kisses it. And that tells you everything you need to know about men.
Weird.
And it's strangely accurate sometimes. But I just have to see that even though some of these fairy tales are depressing, some of them are just comedies.
It's so random. Like, oh, look. I found this, dead body, and I dislodged the apple from her throat by picking the casket up. And she's alive again.
And dropping it.
What?
Not only that, let's be realistic. If you're a queen, if you're a queen of some kingdom of sorts, and you hear that some random secluded woman in the middle of the woods who doesn't come out at the first place is prettier than you, do you really care? How much of a superiority complex do you need to go hunt a random woman that will never ever see the day of light? I mean, you probably could have taken the prince at that point had you not intervened.
I know.
So
Come on, Eva Queen.
step up your game. Why there's so much unnecessary superiority complexes that just cause this? I think this is more of a moral tale in a way. Now that I think about it, saying don't get ahead of yourself or you're gonna end up like the queen. Because you could try all you want, but
in the original, she gets pushed off a cliff, doesn't she? I mean, not the original, the
movie.
Disney movie.
Yeah, she
I don't know what
she
happens
turned
to her in
into
the
a
original.
dragon, and the
No, the dragon is Sleeping Beauty.
Jesus Christ.
Come on, Steph. Get it together.
I have not seen these movies in years. Do not blame me. I apologize. Where was I a second ago? Yeah, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White.
Snow White.
Uh,
That's the gist of Snow White, pretty much.
Yeah,
It's not tragic. It's just
it's a
kind
comedy.
of weird. And
It's a
silly.
moral story and a comedy at the same time, which I think is funny. All right, so I think we'll move on to the next one. This one's the heartbreaking one. Once again, if you have anything to say, 386-822-8770. If you want to call in to say anything, contribute anything, ask a question about anything, we will answer it to the best of our abilities. All right, so
The last one
is
for the night.
very sad.
Pretty darn depressing, if you ask me.
Yeah. It has my version has a little bit of a happy ending, so we'll hear your version first.
Ooh, okay.
Well, we'll hear the Disney, then yours,
Disney
then
version,
mine.
Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid living under the sea, happy as a clam.
The only mismatched mermaid there, like literally, she's the only one with the garments that do not match her tail.
You know what? That is actually true. That's so weird.
She has no fashion
She's like one of
sense.
like 7 sisters or whatever.
From Triton,
Um,
who is
King
I
Triton,
believe the
mhm.
nephew of Neptune, or
yeah.
the son of Neptune.
Okay.
I don't remember which.
What about Poseidon too?
Well, Poseidon is Neptune,
That's
but most people know him as Neptune.
right. All right.
I'm Greek.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I just. Cool. I messed that up. Okay. So Little Mermaid living under the sea, happy, whatever. Little Flounder, her friend, and Sebastian, Triton's little
I have a funny story about
Assistant.
Sebastian later.
Okay. So she's like happy, but she's like, I want to know what's, going on in the world. 'Cause all I do is swim around in the water all day.
Which
she's
is a good
like,
life.
she wants to know what's going on.
Yeah, because
and
she collected all those relics.
Yeah, she collects all the things from like land, and she's fascinated by them. Like, good for her. You have a hobby. And she's like, oh, I want to be part of your world. So she's like swims up to the surface, and she has a friend, a seagull named Scuttle, who fills her in on the latest gossip. She swims up to the surface, and she sees a ship with a crew on it, and
It's being blown
a
up.
prince. Not yet, is it? Is that not yet?
Wasn't it the beginning?
I don't know.
Neither
maybe,
do I.
You know what? Maybe you're... Well,
Well,
Either way.
I think it was a very short transition between the two.
either way, she sees the prince. She falls in love with him. She's like, I need to get on land
And the
so
dog.
I can marry him. Oh yeah, and he's a dog too. I need to get on land because I'm in love with this prince, and
Yeah.
that's what I want. So, also her dad finds her little cave of human artifacts, and he gets really mad and he blows it up, and she cries. Oh, she's a giant statue of the prince. That
Yeah,
too.
she does.
That too. Yeah. So she gets really upset and she cries, and she ends up going to Ursula, the sea witch. She wants to go to Earth, and Ursula's like, well, you know what? If you give me your voice, I'll make that happen for you. And so Ariel's like, okay. And then she sings that little
Part of your world thing.
little it's like 3 notes over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
And then so she goes into land, and then Ursula's like, oh yeah, by the way, you have to get him to fall in love with you by kissing you, because that's again the same thing. By the end of 3 days, or sorry, you
Come back.
You come
or-
back to the water and you don't get your voice back. I'm pretty
Nope.
sure, because Ursula's kind of
Making
cruel.
a deal with the devil is not good.
For sure. So Ariel's like, okay, yeah, sure, like, whatever. Let's do it. So she goes up onto land. She can't figure out how to walk, and
She finds a dipple finger.
um
What was that called? What's she call a fork?
the fork.
I just got a picture.
Oh man,
Oh, here it is. A dingle hopper.
Dinglehopper. That's what that was according to Scuttle.
She gets her dingle hopper, does her hair, talks to the
Yeah,
prince. Not talks, but
the prince
communicates.
finds her on the beach, and he's like, oh my gosh, you are lost on the beach. Let me take you up to the castle, get you cleaned up. So she goes up there. She's staying there for a little while. She's like, you know, getting a little flirty with the prince. She's like, I'm so happy. I'm in love with this prince. And now we're going out on a date on the boat in the water. And that's when they sing Kiss the Girl. And he doesn't, because Ursula's 2 little evil minions,
The electric
Flotsam
eels.
and, Flotsam and Jetsam, tip over the boat so it doesn't happen. Because Ursula's like, I want to keep this girl's voice, you know. So then I think Ariel and Eric are on a boat, and then Ursula turns herself into a human with Ariel's voice and tries to sabotage.
The marriage.
Right. And then I think she tricks Eric, and Eric like thinks he's in love with her, and then a whole entire thing happens, and then
She puts a spell on Eric.
Ursula, yeah.
And
then they
she
try
goes
to
back
fix
to the
it.
sea and kills Ursula.
Ursula tries to get that to work out, and someone I don't know, someone saves the day, and then Ursula dies.
Someone saves the day. But yeah, Ursula dies. They get married. They live happy ever after and have a really crappy sequel.
Oh my gosh, I loved that sequel. When she has the daughter, the black hair, I remember it because when Steph, I was just a little kid. I loved it, and I had them on VHS, and I remember making my dad, the second, I wanted to watch them in order, so the second the first one was over, it started playing the credits. I was like, Dad, you have to stop it and put the second one in right now. So yeah.
Before we ruin your childhoods with this,
It's
I'm
pretty
gonna tell you a
depressing.
nice little story about Anthony Bourdain. He was if you know Anthony Bourdain, he's a food critic.
Oh
and
yeah, sorry.
great guy. I love him.
Ariel saved Eric. Thanks, Ma.
Yeah. Anthony Bourdain's a food critic. But there's a third, My Little Mermaid. I think there's a third one.
There's not.
That's ridiculous. Apparently, Ariel's mom.
If there's
gets
a
hit by
third
boat.
one, I never watched it.
Yeah, I'm not going to either. But so Anthony Bourdain's out with his family. They're eating crab, lobster, sushi, whatever. And The little girl, his daughter, looked up at the crab on the very, very top of the mound, and she brings it down. She's like, "Oh, poor Sebastian." Breaks its arm off and starts eating the meat on the
That's
inside.
hilarious.
That's the type of daughter I want to have.
That's
I mean, I love it how she just,
whatever.
yeah, I'm gonna eat it. You know,
It's food.
yeah,
Nothing comes before food.
exactly. If it's Sebastian or not, I'm gonna eat it. All right, so we're gonna go with the miserable part now. Once again, if you want to call in, 386-822-8770. So right now we're gonna break your hearts, and
gosh.
the whole time I'm wondering, why isn't Poseidon helping? Because it's Triton's
good question.
son. Triton's his son, and Ariel is his granddaughter. Or why isn't Hercules helping? Because Hercules is like Ariel's second stepsister. I mean, all the gods are.
They're interrelated.
Jesus, like,
Extended family and whatnot.
I mean, apparently, Poseidon. I mean, come on, Poseidon's helping out Percy Jackson. Apparently, why the heck can't he help out his own godson? You know, a little bit, like literally god son. Anyways, because he's a god. Triton's a god.
Good one. Punny.
It wasn't meant to be a pun, but go on. You go on if you're saying.
I'm going to try to make this.
Oh, and my friend wants to say that she explained it to me, but she did explain it to me, but I already knew it before that. But thank you, Tori. Go on.
All right, I'm going to try to make this as quick as and painless as possible.
Make it painful.
Oh,
Please make it painful.
Madeline says the gods are not allowed to directly interfere, even to help their own children.
Okay, that's very interesting.
So there, she says.
All right, thank you very much for your information, Madeline.
It's like God law. Okay.
Whatever.
Okay, Little Mermaid. Real story. It's pretty depressing. She same deal. She wants to go see the prince, and Ursula's like, okay, and she takes her voice, but she's also like, but you're gonna be in so much pain because I'm literally just gonna split your fins and split your fin apart,
And it's gonna be painful.
It's gonna be painful. And the Little Mermaid's like, okay. So she goes up there, and then basically,
Imagine
when
like your
Eric-
foot being ripped apart from the middle toe, and now imagine it twice as big.
when Eric was on shore and the Little Mermaid saved him, in the original story, in the
original myth.
that she saved him from a crashed boat or something like
Yeah.
that. She leaves because she's a mermaid, obviously, and these three other women come up, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we need to get this guy some help." And he sees one of those women, and he falls in love with her, and like he tries to find her, but he can't, I guess. And then the Little Mermaid turns into a human, is in pain and stuff, and she meets the prince, and they hang out, and like she's happy, but he's like still in love with this other girl, and she kind of knows it too. And then the other girl comes back.
And she still doesn't have her voice in this one either.
Yeah. So the other girl comes back, and the prince is like, "Oh my gosh, yay!" And then they get engaged, and then they get married. And on the boat, when they're getting engaged, I believe Ariel's on the boat, and actually her name wasn't Ariel in the original.
It was
Serenetta or something like that.
It was Serenetta. Yep.
Yeah. All these mermaids come up, and they're like, it was her sisters, and like, here, we got this knife from the witch, the sea witch. If you kill the prince with it, you can come back and live with us like nothing ever happened.
Exactly.
And so she goes to do it, and then she realizes she can't, that she loves him, and so she just accepts it, moves on, jumps into the water, and she turns into sea foam, and that is why we have sea foam, it's said.
Yep. So.
Really sad. Really sad.
Yeah, but you didn't make it sound sad.
I know. I didn't want it to sound sad.
It's supposed to sound sad.
I don't want it to sound sad.
So basically, yeah, she is, putting it frankly, she is in a way led on, but she can't really help it because she can't talk. She can't. I think this is one of the sadder stories because she can't talk and communicate the fact that she loves the prince. And had she been able to, maybe she could have even convinced him to move on, or to find love with him. Because I mean, let's be realistic.
The struggle.
Yeah, the struggle was so much more immense, and quite frankly, impossible at that point. And she
Right.
couldn't speak. She couldn't write. She had a hold on, what's it called?
Dinglehopper.
Dinglehopper. Yeah, she had a
I loved that
dinglehopper.
part. She started combing her hair with the table and everyone's
Yeah.
like looking at her weird.
So
oh my gosh, what's Grimsley? Eric's